Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show. If you're new here, where we talk about all the Queen City sports. For right now, it's just going to start out small. 4 teams: Charlotte 49ers football, Charlotte 49ers basketball, Charlotte Hornets, and Carolina Panthers. Okay, I'm a huge Charlotte sports fan, and so I'm very excited to start this series, the Buzz and Roar Show. If you're listening on Spotify, of course, you can't see the video. However, if you're watching on YouTube, the Carolina Panthers room is decked out. I am so excited for this, and for both platforms, one video a week. One video a week. That's wonderful, right? One video a week. Come on, that's insane. One podcast video a week. That's pretty good. However, let's go ahead and start the podcast strong with the first ever intro video. Yes, I made an intro video for this. Haha. Hit the intro cue.
You've just stepped into the only place where Hornets sting, Panthers growl, and 49ers try not to blow a fourth quarter lead. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show, hosted by a guy who loves sports named Ethan. We're talking Queen City sports with just the right amount of bias and way too much caffeine. Let's get it going.
You know, that intro sequence really hits, doesn't it? It sounds great. It sounds great. However, guys, I'm telling you, I have got a full monitor. One monitor has my recording section on it for this podcast. One monitor has a full Buzz and Roar Show breakdown on what I'm going to be doing for each episode. Well, not for each one, but for this episode, the next episode. You know what I mean. So, let's go and start it off strong. The first subject in history of the Buzz and Roar Show is Charlotte 49ers basketball. Charlotte 49ers basketball. Let me quickly do that. Okay. Charlotte 49ers basketball. The question is Aaron Fern, new head coach, on the hot seat? Okay. The 23-24 season was his first ever year coaching basketball. Like, it was his first year even being a head coach in history. The 23-24 season, he went 19-12. That was his first ever year coaching. But then the reason why the question is he on the hot seat is because in the 24-25 season, in his second year ever coaching, he went 11-22. And my answer for this is possibly. So it's kind of like a yes or no. Okay. In his 2 full seasons of being a head coach in general, specifically a Charlotte 49ers basketball head coach, he has had a 30-34 head coaching record in basketball for a .469 winning percentage. And I think he could be on the hot seat because the 49ers want to win some basketball. They want to be one of them good teams that, like, they want to be St. John's and just get up there randomly and just push ahead as hard as they can and get to the national championship and shock the world. They want to be a Cinderella basketball team. They want to be a shocking Cinderella basketball team. Okay? They do. That's the simple part about it. They want to be a shocking Cinderella type basketball team. And Aaron Fern, first year, 19-12, the problem... See, UNC, I'm not covering UNC in this podcast. However, for example, the North Carolina Tar Heels, Hubert Davis, when he first came in, he made it to the national championship. Yeah, he was the coach, but that was still kind of Roy Williams' team because Roy Williams was like still coaching and stuff like that. I mean, he was still recruiting and stuff like that. Then he left, and he had still gotten some of those recruits from that year. Same thing for Duke. The new coach's first year there, John Shire, his first year was kind of Mike Krzyzewski's last year, if that makes sense. It was kind of still Mike Krzyzewski's team. Both of those coaches' first teams was the second year they were coaching, if that makes sense. And that's kind of how it works for all basketball. So Aaron Fern's first year coaching was his 19-12 season, but although it was his 19-12 season, was it really? Or was it just the last coach's team who did a pretty decent job recruiting and then helped out Aaron Fern in his first year? Was it that? Or was it the fact that Aaron Fern did recruit well and he did coach well? However, really the question once again is just, is Aaron Fern on the hot seat? And the fact of the matter is that technically, with the analogy I just used with UNC and Duke, those two all-star coaches leaving, but technically the first year wasn't like fully the new coach's team. That was kind of the case with Aaron Fern, it feels like. Because, I mean, he went 11-22. That's an 8-game drop. First year he went 19-12, then he goes 11-22. I don't think the first year was technically his team, which, because of that, I feel like this next year, and given his conference, and the fact he didn't do too terribly being a head coach, I would say he could get 1 or 2 more years, but then that's when they give up on him. I would say he coaches the rest of this year. Let's say he goes 12-21 this year. I would say they're going to be like, okay, listen, you have got half a year left. Or, okay, listen, you've got 1 more year left before we fire you and promote our assistant coach. Or we fire you and hire a different coach for Charlotte 49ers basketball. I think this year is the definition year for Aaron Fern. I feel like if Aaron Fern doesn't do good this year, then I feel like it won't be a good situation for him at Charlotte, which will then lead to him getting fired. You don't want a bad situation on a basketball team, or any team in general. And I think that's kind of what that's going to look like. However, I didn't have much Charlotte 49ers basketball to talk about today. However, if you are a Charlotte 49ers football fan, strap onto your seats because I've got a good amount to talk about today. Charlotte 49ers football, the second ever topic to talk about. By the way, just real quick, follow me on YouTube, follow me on Spotify, if you're listening on the Spotify, and I need transition songs for each time I transition from subject 1 to subject 2 to subject 3 to subject 4, whatever. I want transition songs. So if you are a artist who wants to be in my video, I have an email on my YouTube channel, Ethan the Broadcaster. It is in my Spotify, and you can get it there. And I'll probably link my YouTube in the description as well, but it's in the Spotify, it's in the podcast's description on Spotify. And if you're listening on Spotify from YouTube and you're an aspiring artist, or you just want to make a song, I mean, if you're my age or something like that and you just want to make a song, go right ahead. I'll put basically anything on there and it's free. I just need a song. Anyways, and no, you can't copyright me. That is the complete opposite of what I'm getting at. Anyways, subject to Charlotte 49ers football. How different, I've got 2 questions for this one. How different will the 49ers quarterback room look like? Well, I think it's going to look a lot different. Because if you're a Charlotte 49ers football fan, Max Brown, not Mac Brown, the old guy who just got fired from UNC, but Max Brown, the old Charlotte 49ers football QB who just transferred to West Virginia, he was pretty good. And Max Brown being pretty good and he transfers to West Virginia is not a good thing for Charlotte 49ers football, because truth be told, Max Brown was a pretty daggum good quarterback. I mean, just being completely honest, he really, really was. But the reason why my question is how different will it look is because now to come into that starting QB spot, who did they get? Well, going back on the topic of UNC Chapel Hill, North Carolina Tar Heels, Connor Harrell, the old QB who got benched and Jacoby Criswell came in, that's who Charlotte 49ers football has. Connor Harrell has just come in to take that spot at Charlotte 49ers football. And Connor Harrell's not bad at all. I mean, he really isn't. I feel like he just didn't like the style of play UNC played. And here's the thing. Connor Harrell isn't bad at all. But like I've already said, the question is, how different will it look? Well, in my opinion, it will look a ton different. And that is because Max Brown, he can run. We know he can run. But he is a pass-first quarterback. He likes passing. If you've watched a Charlotte 49ers football game, he likes to run, but what does he like to do more? He likes to pass the football. He likes doing what quarterbacks were made for. He likes passing the football, dropping back in the pocket, throwing the ball, passing the football. He likes passing the football. Connor Harrell is the complete opposite. He likes those run plays, those read option plays, every once in a while chuck the ball 90 yards down the field, then go back again and do another read option. He likes the read option plays. He loves those read option plays. He really does. If you've seen him play, if you are a Tar Heels fan, I am. If you have seen a Connor Harrell play on the Tar Heels, he likes those read option plays. That is what Mac Brown, not Max Brown, that's why it's kind of confusing. That is what Mac Brown let Connor Harrell do when he was out there. He did those read option plays. Those like drop back in the pocket, fake the handoff, and either throw or run. Y'all know what a read option is, of course. And he likes those plays. And once again, he likes passing, but Connor Harrell, let's put it this way, he plays like no offense, but Lamar Jackson's really good and no one's going to pass him anytime soon, and especially not Connor Harrell. So I can say this with tons of confidence. Connor Harrell plays like Lamar Jackson, just nowhere close to as good. He plays like Lamar Jackson. That's the style he plays. Hey, coach, can we throw a running back to my right? Can I fake the handoff and then either run myself or throw it to the bubble route on the left? That's what he likes to do. Connor Harrell is a all-out running styled quarterback, or a all-out read option styled quarterback. Max Brown, once again, I've said it so many times, Max Brown is a running quarterback, but he likes passing. He likes passing way more. He is more of a passing QB than a read option or running QB. Which is why I think the quarterback room is going to look tons different. The offensive side of the ball for the 49ers next year is going to have to look a lot different. They are going to have to learn to run the ball a little more often. They're going to have to learn to do more read option plays. They're going to have to learn how to do that more often. for the team to be successful. Okay. And it's not that I think that they're not going to. It's just I think it's going to take this entire offseason probably. Like, they need to hurry up. If they haven't started... Because I feel like Connor Harrell, the reason why he didn't do so good at UNC is because UNC likes the read-option plays, but do they call it every play? No, they call like quick slants. Slant to the left corner. A deep post route. Or mainly, the reason why Connor Harrell wasn't so good at UNC, mainly they ran the ball. They ran the ball, but not with the quarterback. They just ran it with Omarion Hampton. Omarion Hampton is a Los Angeles Charger now, which I'm so happy for him. Also kind of mad because I'm going to miss him. However, I'm going to miss just handing the ball off and being able to get a first down every time. However, Omarion Hampton was the one who ran the ball more often for us. And then we always let our players do their job. So we ran the ball a ton, but we didn't let Connor Harrell run the ball a ton. We made our running backs run the ball a ton instead of our quarterbacks run the ball a ton. And Charlotte 49ers football, if they want to be successful with Connor Harrell, because Charlotte 49ers football kind of does the same thing, but it's the complete opposite. They pass the ball a lot more instead of letting the quarterback run. Instead of letting the quarterback run, they let the quarterback choose, hey, who you going to throw it to? And if you ain't going to throw it to him, run the ball. But please, throw it to someone if you can. They like throwing the ball. They do. They like throwing the ball. And they're going to have to learn to run the ball a little more often. If they are going to start Connor Harrell this year, they have to learn to run the ball more often this year. And that's that. I mean, it really is. That is that. It's simply that. Like, they're going to have to learn to run the ball more often. All right, and here's my second question for the 49ers football. How will Tim Albin perform in his first ever full season with the Niners? Well, weirdly enough, I think, and this is why I actually think Connor Harrell is going to do flawlessly with the Niners, I think Tim Albin is going to coach flawlessly with the Niners. He came off in excellent 4-year tenure at the University of Ohio. Okay, excellent. I'm trying to find the website I went to. Here it is. Yeah. Well, now I've got even more to talk about Charlotte 49ers football. But I think he's going to do flawlessly. He came off an excellent 4-year tenure at the University of Ohio. And coming to Charlotte with an overall head coaching record of 58-27 and 2-0 in bowl games is wonderful for the team. Wonderful. I mean, it really is. It's wonderful. And I think this man will prove to be wonderful. I think he will. And not only that, but I think he is going to have basically no problems. If he does what I said about Connor Harrell, if he shifts the offense a little more to the run side, I don't think he's going to have any problems running this team. And on top of all of his crazy 58-27 2-0 bowl games record, he has won 2 MAC conference championships within the past 5 years. So I think he's going to be fine. However, this is what I was going to say. The Charlotte 49ers, this website right here, they have a whole statistics type thing, and I just wanted to go over it real quick. The fact of the matter is that this See, I think the 49ers could easily go 6-6 this year. However, according to stats, they think 6-6 is a quote unquote miracle. No joke, it's considered a miracle for the 49ers. They said it's a miracle if they go 6-6, which is wild to me. They said that they have a 12% chance of going bowl eligible, and they have them going 3-9 this year. And I'm sorry, but I for some reason don't see that happening. They have them beating Monmouth, beating Temple, and then beating Rice. Those are the only 3 games that they win. The rest they lose. And the funniest part is that all 3 of those games are at home. They just don't think that they are good enough to win games. I kind of think the complete opposite. I really do. I think the Charlotte 49ers right now are in a spot where they could possibly go 7-5 or even 8-4 if they really try hard enough. I mean, they've got a great coach, great quarterback, pretty good receivers. They say that there is a 0% chance for Charlotte to go undefeated. Like a 0%. Like, they're real confident about that. They're real confident about that. However, only 2 more subjects to go in the first episode. When I get more teams on here, it'll be a little bit longer probably. However, for now, I'm in a probably 30 to 40 minute episode. It's not bad at all. Subject 3. This is my favorite part of the episode because finally I get to talk about my 2 favorite professional sports teams, the Charlotte Hornets. And then, of course, I think you know what's coming next, the Carolina Panthers. First of all, subject 3 is the Charlotte Hornets. This is going to take a second because this is a kind of debate question that I need your answers in the comments for. And if you're a Charlotte Hornets fan, you may be either agreeing with me or completely disagreeing with me. However, my question is, should the Hornets eventually trade LaMelo Ball? And is he on the hot seat this season? I think if he gets injured again this year, if he still doesn't play a full season this year, if he still doesn't play, even if he misses like 2 games, if he still doesn't play at least like 75, 76 games, I think the Hornets are going to at least consider shopping LaMelo in the 26 to 27 offseason. And the reason for that is mainly because the Hornets, number one, have been great this offseason. People say that they have had the best draft in the entire league. They have had wonderful acquisitions like Mason Plumlee, Colin Sexton. And should the Hornets eventually trade LaMelo, I think is a question that people may disagree on. But I think, once again, if he continues to keep getting injured, then I think, yes. Because he's wasting salary cap, truthfully. And I mean tons of salary cap. And also because, here's my analogy for it. We saw the Trailblazers get rid of Damian Lillard a couple years back. Listen, sometimes teams that are this low-ended and this just plain bad need a reset in their franchise. They need to get rid of their star player. Truthfully, if we're going way back, that's kind of what the Cavaliers did. I don't think that's what they were kind of getting at, but that's kind of what the Cavs did. And the Hornets, the Trailblazers, Damian Lillard, a couple years back, got let go by the Trailblazers. And he was their star player. And then right after that, what happened? The Trailblazers just traded tons of players for draft picks. They basically reset their entire team just to get tons of draft picks, so then they can get tons of first round draft picks in specifics, so then they can, nowadays we see, so then they can acquire all these rookies who aren't really doing that bad. Shaedon Sharpe, Anfernee Simons, all of them. Every single one of them. Now, Anfernee Simons is actually a Celtic now. However, you know what I mean. They completely reset their team. And right now, the Hornets are one step away from, quote-unquote, completely resetting their team. They have sort of reset their team. I don't know how to explain it. They have reset the first part of their team, but if they want to officially set in stone that they are resetting their team for good, they are done with these injuries, they're done with all these losses, then I think trading LaMelo would be a good decision. However, that's only if he gets injured again. I think if he gets injured again, he is on the hot seat. And truthfully, I think he's 75% of the way on the hot seat this season. I think he's on the hot seat this season. Because once again, he's wasting salary cap. If he's not playing, that's kind of just what he's doing. He's just taking up a roster spot. A big one, too. And he's not playing. He's not playing as much as we want him to play. So should they eventually trade him? The answer is, yeah, if you don't play for us, if you keep getting injured, then yes. For sure. If you keep getting injured, if you get injured this year, for sure. But I think the reason why the Hornets want to wait just a tiny bit longer is because LaMelo's about to enter his prime, really. LaMelo's about to enter his biggest years coming up. And the Panthers, the Hornets, the Hornets either need to completely reset their team or have a long chat to LaMelo about getting ankle replacement surgery. But I'm just being honest. I think if he gets injured this year, then he is 1,000,000% on the hot seat. I think he gets traded either instantly or close to instantly because of how many times he is getting injured. So, subject 3 is done. Once again, if you're an aspiring artist, you can tell me in the YouTube comment section on any of my videos to use your artist name in your song. I will shout you out on this podcast so and I can have a transition song between these videos. Follow me on Spotify. Follow me on YouTube at Ethan the Broadcaster on YouTube. E is capitalized. The T is capitalized. And then B on Broadcaster is capitalized. However, no spaces, just Ethan. E is capitalized. T. The is capitalized. T is capitalized on the. And then Broadcaster B is capitalized. However, we're almost done. Subject 4 is my favorite. The Carolina Panthers. Wow, my voice cracked. The Carolina Panthers. My question, I actually have 2 questions for this. My question is, should we be scared from this Panthers defense not being good enough once again? because I feel like we're relying a little more on the offense like we did last offseason. However, I think there is a chance we should be a little terrified. However, but I don't think it'll be as bad as last year for sure. Because with the additions of Derek Brown coming back off of injury, and those sneaky, efficient moves like we always do to fix up that secondary, I think we should be fine coming into this year. But it still is going to take a little bit of time to get used to, considering how young this defense is coming into the year. I mean, this defense is kind of young, and considering we keep doing these sneaky, efficient moves instead of going big-time, heavy load moves, we should be a tiny bit scared, but not, terrified because of... I think the defense... Let's put it this way. I think the defensive line is going to be great. And I think our linebackers are going to be great. I think it's just the secondary that we should worry about. We have completely revamped the linebacker core and the defensive line. Once again, we always rely so heavily on those two. However, I think those two lines are not going to be enough if we don't have J.C. Horn playing to his fullest, Trayvon Moehrig playing to his fullest. The safeties and the cornerbacks is where I would worry a little more than the defensive line and your linebackers right behind them. So, kind of yes, but not the full defense. And do I think we're going to be better? 1,000%. We are going to be better on that defense. Our defense is going to be better. And it's just because Derek Brown is coming back. He got the most tackles out of everyone in the league the year before last year. But then he gets injured, and so we don't perform as well in that run defense. And now we're getting that Kansas City Chiefs guy. I forget his name every time. However, you know who I'm talking about. And he's real good. He's a big boy, too, and he'll help out Derek Brown just as much as Derek Brown helps out that defensive line. I think he will help out Derek Brown just as much. I think he'll help out the D-line just as much. I think the D-line is going to be one of the best in the league. Possibly the best in the league. Top 5. But that's if we don't get injured and if they run the ball against us, I guess. However, that's my first question for the Panthers. Second question for the Panthers, and actually the last question of the day for any Charlotte team. Will Xavier Legette be better this year? Yes. 1,000,000%. And this is going to be a explanation that has to take some, real explanation diving. I don't know how to explain it. Because at South Carolina, before he got drafted, he played on the wide receiver core. You know how there's slot receivers, Z receivers, wide receivers. There's these weird names for different receivers on the lines and stuff. Well, I couldn't tell you. I would have to search it up, and I forgot to search it up before the episode. However, he plays a specific... At South Carolina, where he balled out at South Carolina, he played a specific receiver position. However, last year, his rookie season, he didn't do as good. Why? Because we didn't have him playing that position. Dave didn't play him that position. And you may be asking, well, why didn't Dave play him at that position? Well, the question is, why? And I have your answer. It's because we didn't have anyone else to play that position. Our wide receiver core was good, but we literally didn't have anyone else to play that position. That part of the wide receiver core was where we just were stumped. However, guess what? T-Mac, Tetairoa McMillan, coming in to the Panthers. Guess where he's going to play? Exactly where Xavier Legette played last year. T-Mac is going to fill in Xavier Legette's spot. So T-Mac takes his spot. Then Xavier shifts over to his original wide receiver core position where he was at South Carolina. And then he balls out just like he did at South Carolina. So basically, in general, yes, he is, because his rookie year, he didn't even play his normal receiver position. He was playing a receiver position he had never played before. Dave said this in an interview last year. That's why I know this. Because Dave said this in an interview last year. And he said that he might not ball out like he usually did at South Carolina this year. Or that year. This year meaning last year, the 24-25 season. But he said that he might not ball out as much because we have to play him at this position instead of what his normal position is. And then they draft T-Mac, who plays the position Xavier Legette played last year in his rookie year, which means Xavier Legette can play his normal position that he did at South Carolina, which means he's going to be wonderful next year. He's going to be wonderful. He can go back to his original position. T-Mac can go back to his original position. Then we have got incredible receivers. Okay? I mean, our wide receiver core. Carolina Panthers wide receiver core. This is their 2025 depth chart. Let me see this real quick. We have got Tetairoa McMillan, Jalen Coker. Like, all of the guys who I'm looking at, even the guys on the practice squad are pretty good. Tetairoa McMillan, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, all three of those guys are good. David Moore, Hunter Renfrow, Jalen Coker. That's the second line of receivers. We have got such a good receiver core. Jimmy Horn Jr. is on the third string line. He is, hold on, let me count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He is the seventh string receiver. Because we have got Tetairoa McMillan, Adam Thielen, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Hunter Renfrow, David Moore ahead of him. Jimmy Horn Jr. is real good. He should not be the seventh receiver down on the depth chart. But he is. Hunter Renfrow is the fifth receiver down on the depth chart. Because that is how good we are. That is how good they play. It just kind of is. That's how good they have done, if that makes sense. And, I mean, this team is going to be wonderful. And especially with the things I was just talking about, with Xavier Legette getting his normal position back, I don't think we are going to have any problems, truthfully. I really don't. I do not think that we're going to have any problems. Okay? I don't. I genuinely don't. In my opinion, I don't see us having any wide receiver core problems. I don't see us really having, I mean, this isn't the question. We'll talk about this next time. However, really quickly, if you haven't seen my channel, once again, it's linked in the description. And I would love if you went to sub to it at Ethan the Broadcaster. E is capitalized, T is capitalized, B is capitalized. I already said that. But I did a full NFL schedule prediction. It's an hour long. Every single game for every single team. Every game for every team. I did an NFL, like, not just one team and there's 32 videos. No, one video 32 teams and the playoffs. And I had the Panthers going 9-8 and making the playoffs. And that sounds weird. However, I don't see Bryce being that bad. I don't see the Panthers being that bad in general. And so that's kind of how I feel about the Panthers. That's kind of how I feel about the Hornets. That's kind of how I feel about the Charlotte 49ers football team. That's kind of how I feel about the Charlotte 49ers basketball team. And that is a wrap on this first ever episode of the Buzz and Roar Show. Thanks for riding with us through Hornets heartbreak, Panthers panic, and 49ers. Well, we're just proud they showed up. Make sure to follow, subscribe, and tell your friends we're better than your cousin's podcast. Till next time, keep it buzzing, roaring, and ninering, if that's even a word. Thank you so much. I had to say that. That's my outro thing. I am probably going to do a little music thing again for the outro. However, thank you so much. Once again, follow on Spotify, YouTube. Yeah, just follow on Spotify and YouTube. And once again, I need a transition song. If you're an upcoming artist, put your comment on my YouTube or email me at Ethan, all lowercase, ethanthebroadcaster@gmail.com. With any questions, you can join me on the podcast for goodness sakes if you really want to. ethanthebroadcaster@gmail.com. That's my email. Thank you so much for watching. Episode 2 will come out next week. Because once again, there's one episode a week. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
You've just stepped into the only place where Hornets sting, Panthers growl, and 49ers try not to blow a fourth quarter lead. Welcome to the Buzz and Roar Show, hosted by a guy who loves sports named Ethan. We're talking Queen City sports with just the right amount of bias and way too much caffeine. Let's get it going.